What's up, everyone? My name is Blue, and we are here today with some ProRevenge stories. Getting sweet, sweet revenge on those who have trespassed against us. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. And with that, let's get into it. Teacher hits student and gets blacklisted. So this story comes from my father. The cast. My father, we'll call him John, to protect identities. The substitute teacher, who we'll call ST for short. The story. My father grew up in the lovely state of New Jersey and attended high school in the late 1970s. He was a well-behaved kid, as my grandfather and principal were friends. My grandparents knew everyone. One day, my dad's English teacher, for reasons unknown, had to stop teaching for the foreseeable future and was replaced with the substitute teacher. This teacher was apparently from the deep South and evidently was barely qualified to even teach English. Now, English was my dad's first class of the day, so every day he would come into school with a coffee from the local donut chain to get him going in the morning. This is where the drama began. The first day ST is teaching, they see my dad with his coffee and go, "John, you can't have that in my class." My dad, yes I can? There were no rules against drinks in classes, so that was the end. Only it wasn't. The next day rolls around, another coffee in class. ST, "John, you can't drink that in my class." My dad, "Yes, I can. There's no rules against it, and I've been doing it all year." Again, end of argument. Third day rolls around, and as my dad sits down at his desk, piping hot cup of joe in hand, ST storms over, takes the coffee, and throws it in the garbage. Needless to say, this stopped the morning coffee for a time. A few weeks go by without issue. The incident. Remember when I said that ST was from the deep South and barely qualified to teach English? Well, a few weeks after the coffee debacle, ST makes a simple, and I mean beginner level, grammatical error on the chalkboard. Now, my grandmother was a court reporter and had perfect grammar. She actually founded a court reporting school in New Jersey and raised my dad and uncle with the same. So my dad pipes up and corrects ST on their error. ST just scoffs and continues the lesson. The next day comes around, and ST makes another grammatical error, to which my dad, once again, speaks up to correct them. Once again, ST ignores him and continues on. Third day comes, and ST makes, you guessed it, another screw-up. And of course, my dad corrects them. This time, ST stops the lesson and faces the class. ST, "John, come here." My dad complies, thinking he's about to be reprimanded. The second he gets there in front of the class, ST reels back and slaps my dad across the face. Now, my dad is a stocky fellow. He's about 5'8" and even back then was built like a gorilla. I've seen pictures. So he took the slap like a champion. With ST standing there with a smug sense of authority, my dad rubs his cheek, looks towards his fellow students who are all staring at them in shock, and simply says, "I am defending my rights as a student," and whirls around and delivers a single punch worthy of Captain Falcon. ST falls to the ground with a broken jaw, writhing in pain. My dad collects himself and tells his fellow students that he'll be heading to the principal's office, and promptly does so, leaving ST on the floor to contemplate their life choices. On his way to the office, my dad stops at the school phone and calls my grandfather and tells him to come to the school. Once my dad, grandfather, and principal are all gathered, he tells them both what happened. The two of them are furious, and the principal immediately calls ST to the office. The revenge. So, again, remember how ST was from the South? And how my dad went to school in New Jersey? Fun little thing about the good old Garden State: corporal punishment, the physical disciplining of students by their teachers, has been illegal in New Jersey since 1867. When ST slapped my dad, they broke state law. Needless to say, ST was immediately sacked and permanently banned from teaching in New Jersey. Luckily, the story has a happy ending. Remember how my grandfather and the principal were friends? Well, the principal knew my dad on a somewhat personal level and knew they would never act as they did without just cause. So my dad got off with a slap on the wrist. And who did the school bring in to teach English for the rest of the year? Why, none other than my grandmother, of course. I understand that if you're raised as a teacher in the South and hitting a kid is perfectly acceptable down there, might seem like a good idea, but it's also a good idea to check the laws of where you're teaching. Also, I just want to take a minute to appreciate that the OP referenced Captain Falcon in regards to the punch. Falcon punch! Come on. So good. So good. Ban me from the game for petty reasons? I'll take away your host privileges. Today in Among Us, a toxic host banned me for playing the game properly. I discovered that the game bans IP addresses, so I used Proton VPN to rejoin the server. The host recalls my username and banned me again, so I changed my username and rejoined. Once I rejoined, 2 matches had already passed and the host was revealed to be a cheater by the other players. I pretended to be with the host so they won't ban me, while I secretly joined the game with 2 other Among Us windows. When the game started, I used the player named Justice to call a meeting. I revealed that I was the person that host banned 2 games ago and proceeded to get all 3 of my Among Us windows to kick the host after scolding them harshly. That must have sucked for them, as being a host is fun and sometimes rare, and they know exactly why they lost the privilege. The rest of the crew cheered, and we had one last fun game. I didn't abuse my discovery of the multi-window running trick. Even when Orange killed me, I kept my mouth shut in the other accounts and even had the 2 remaining ones argue with each other, each voting one side to cancel out. Please don't abuse the multi-window cheat and only use it for good, like I did here. Oh, the toxic host is definitely sus. Vote him out. Once she moves out of the way, grab them. I ran to the store to get a few things on my lunch break today. I didn't have much time, but I still respect the protocols of the store. Going down the aisles the proper way, social distancing, etc. A woman in the store kept going the wrong way down the aisles with her husband. She kept getting in the way of me and my boys and kept saying, "Can you move?" Every single time. I can't stress enough that even with huge arrows, she kept specifically making it out like it was my mission to get in her way. I politely moved each time, and being an anxious person, even said sorry once or twice. Well, I get to the baking aisle, and I see my friend again. Again, going the wrong way. Again, telling me to get out of her way. This time was special though. You see, this time, she tells her husband, referring to sauces. Oh, they have a caramel and dark chocolate left. Once she moves out of the way, grab them. They had one left of each. Did I know they existed before? No. Did I grab the last ones and also grab the chocolate caramel last, just in case? Absolutely. Man, this lady was like a villain monologuing their plan just so the hero can stop them. You know, albeit on a much smaller and sauce-based scale. And that's all the time we have today for these ProRevenge stories. If you liked any of the stories, make sure to click like on the video, and please subscribe so you don't miss out on any stories. Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch you later.